Now, I know I'm late to the party when it comes to reviewing this film, but only fashionably so. Hello, this is Mara Jade. I'm back with another video, and the movie in question is Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now, normally, I would have had this review up before now, but because of my busy schedule this past weekend to include babysitting my niece for the entirety of Saturday, I was not able to see it until yesterday, but I still wanted to get my thoughts out about the film. I'm going to keep it as vague and general as possible. The title does say no spoilers. I might touch a bit on spoilery talk, but for the most part, I'm going to avoid anything major that could spoil anything about it for anyone who has not seen the movie yet. For those who might be waiting until the Thanksgiving holiday weekend to go see it, I'm just going to give my overall thoughts about this film. Now, before going into anything particularly about this film, I would objectively give this movie maybe a 7.5 thereabouts out of 10. Objectively, it is a decent film. Leagues better than the 2016 version that we shall not name. Objectively, it is about that range. Subjectively, I will say that it is, for me, a 9 out of 10, and a lot of that has to do with the third act. And the third act, near the end in particular, made me tear up. Now, those who have seen the film and have enjoyed it, you will know what I'm talking about. For those who have not seen the film and are looking forward to the film because they love the first two and only two Ghostbusters films, you will know what I'm talking about when you see the movie. So those are the scores I would arguably give this film right now as of first viewing. Now, I do intend on seeing this movie again at some point. I can't promise when necessarily. The score might change, but I very much doubt it. So, let's dive a little bit into the plot and characters. If you have not figured out from the trailer that this involves Egon Spengler's family in a way, then I don't know what to tell you. But it does involve Egon Spengler's daughter and grandchildren. It begins with Spengler's death, and that's not exactly spoilery because you do see it in a way at the very beginning of the film, and then it picks up where the daughter, played by Carrie Coon, her name is Callie, has found out that he has passed, and she has to pack up her two children, Trevor, her teenage son, played by Finn Wolfhard, and McKenna Grace, her daughter Phoebe, and head out to the Midwest. And not just head out to the Midwest, they are evicted from their apartment. So, kind of adds to a little bit of the frustration with the whole family situation. My little peeve when it comes to the mother character, now I don't exactly blame the actress for this, it's more of the writing and the character development, but for most of the film she walks around, or at least has a huge chip on her shoulder when it comes to dealing with cleaning up after her father, Egon Spengler, because she has really had no relationship at all with them, because years prior he seemingly abandoned his family and friends. Now, anybody who knows the character knows that he wouldn't just do that without any reason, and as the film progresses we find out and discover the ultimate reason why he did what he did. But like I said, for the most part she walks around with a huge chip on her shoulder and has almost an aversion to anything dealing with science, to the point where she actually outright shows disgust for it. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that her father, that she has had no relationship with, that was his focus. So anything dealing with him, she basically avoids like the plague, so to speak. So, a little peeve of mine, like I said, with that character, because it got to a point where it's like, you know what, girl? Get over it a little bit. Get over it a little bit. You're how old? You're how old? And you're still walking around with this little chip on your shoulder. I'm sorry. It sucks, but kind of move on a little bit. I'm not saying necessarily that I expected her to forgive and forget and right off the bat necessarily. But to me, personally, it was a little bit of an annoyance with her character. Her son, like I said, played by Finn Wolfhard, he's kind of the everyman archetype. He is the older brother. He does have a little bit of an attitude to him, but for the most part, it stems from the situation they find themselves in. They have to pack up and leave their apartment because of the eviction and move out to a town that he's had no idea, doesn't know anybody there or anything like that. So you kind of understand his feelings when it comes to like the situations. He does get a summer job, really pretty much because he sees a cute girl, played, her name is Lucky, that he kind of develops a crush on, so he gets a job there, and ostensibly to also earn money to kind of help his mother out. The real focus within the family is Phoebe, played by McKenna Grace. Literally, and figuratively, a mini version of Egon Spangler. This is a case of certain characteristics skipping a generation and finding themselves in the third generation, which is Phoebe. Now, I'm not going to call anyone out in particular, but one of the past live streams I did, someone sent a super chat to me saying that two of the critiques he had was that seeming fact that she knew everything, or like, she's very, very intelligent to the point where she almost comes across as a Mary Sue, and when she shoots the proton pack for the first time, it should have knocked her on her ass. And I have two counterpoints to those initial points. You can agree with them, you can disagree with them. I'm not exactly counterpointing to the point where I'm going to completely disagree with where the person is coming from, but at the same time, I can kind of see and excuse and understand what is happening with the character and so forth. But so, to the first point, her seemingly knowing everything, yes, I could kind of see where that impression would come from. You know, like, she's basically 12 years old, and how does she know all this shit that she seemingly just rattles off easily? Now, without explicitly saying anything in terms of her character, and I'm not trying to write anything about the character for the writers and directors of this film. However, if I were to diagnose her character, I would say she has Asperger's, basically, which falls on the autism spectrum disorder scale. Again, not trying to write anything, but in terms of dialogue, her social interactions and so forth leads me to say that she does have that a condition, Asperger's. So, and because of that condition, she does have difficulty with social interactions, which we do see. She has restricted interests, and for her, restricted interest is science. Anything relating to science will pique her interest, and that's what we see within the film. And because of that, those like strengths, she does have remarkable focus and persistence, as well as attention to detail. If, in fact, this character does have that condition. I'm, again, not trying to write anything for the movie, but I'm looking at how the character is portrayed, the dialogue she has, where, like, at one point she says, outwardly, I don't know how to, display these emotions, but inwardly I'm puking or something like that, leads me to believe that that's the condition that she has, where she does not know how to socially convey certain emotions or act in certain social situations, and as a result, but she is very, very intelligent, and her interest, like I said, is science. So, if her interest is science and she does have that condition, it is not beyond the realm of possibility that she would have a need or a desire to read everything there is about anything dealing with science. And because she's 12 years old, probably hasn't found the niche, the focus of where she would have that. So she's probably reading everything she can about whatever topic in that scale. So, like I said, it kind of comes across as that, and I can see that in terms of, she knows everything, how, it's like, oh, that's very, very convenient. But at the same time, I'm like, well, it's not exactly a stretch. That's just in my own personal opinion when it comes to the character of Phoebe. Now, to the second point, where she fires off the proton pack for the first time, yes, in a way, kind of like, you would think it probably would knock her back a little bit. She's not exactly that big. She's a child. She's not exactly that big. However, we are thinking, I think, in general terms, as if it were to have a normal recoil, that of a gun that we would fire, basically. And the recoil is what causes the person to go back. So if you don't hold a gun in the proper position, yes, you will get knocked on your ass. So we're basically inserting real-world physics when it comes to certain real-world weapons onto a fictional piece of technology. So, again, I could kind of see where the person is coming from. I get it, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm not exactly going to say, oh, that would never happen. She'd be knocked on her ass. No, we can't exactly say that because we don't know exactly what recoil there would be, if any, for the proton pack, because it's a fictional piece of technology. Like I said, we don't know. So there it is. So Phoebe, like I said, is the focus. She meets another rather awkward kid. Awkward, but at the same time kind of adorable in my eyes. His name is Podcast, and he's called that, and he calls himself that because, well, guess what? He does a podcast, pretty much, dealing with the conspiracy theories, supernatural, and things like that. So anything weird that could be potentially happening in his town of Somerville, he will be podcasting about it. So, and guess what? Strange things do happen. Certain supernatural occurrences begin in the home, focused around Phoebe, and you don't know who or what it is. It pretty much is clear what is happening, what is interacting with Phoebe, but I'd like to leave it to the people who have not seen the film, to see it for themselves, because it does lead to the character arc of Callie, so to speak, and which goes from, like, when the supernatural occurrences starts to the end of the film. Paul Rudd plays Mr. Gruberson. His first name is Gary. He's kind of like the I don't want to say the Tully of the movie necessarily, but he does have that kind of like the goofy awkwardness. He's very much into he's very also into science. He's a science not only a science teacher, but he's a seismologist. And the reason why he's in Somerville is because there are seismic activities occurring in this Midwestern town with no real-world explanation. And he's there to try to figure out what exactly is happening. As the movie progresses, you figure out what is happening in the film. Everything culminates to the final act and the final battle with the big bad. And I can't say too much, because a lot of it does there are Easter eggs that are dropped kind of throughout the movie. There are clues that are dropped throughout the movie, and you are figuring out essentially as the characters are figuring it out themselves. The cameos. There are the cameos for the original cast. The only exception is Rick Moranis. Tully is not in the film. I don't know the exact reason why necessarily. I do know the actor Rick Moranis did officially retire from acting following the passing of his wife, and he did so to focus on raising their children. It could also have been that there probably was not any, at least in this movie, any reason where it flowed or was seamless to include his character unlike the other ones necessarily. So that's the only one who did not appear. But Annie Potts, who plays Janine Melnick, Dan Aykroyd, who plays Raymond Stant, Bill Murray, who plays Peter Venkman, Ernie Hudson, who plays Winston Zeddemore, and Sigourney Weaver, who plays Dana Barrett. They all make an appearance, and it's not to the detriment of the characters. That's why it's not like The Force Awakens, so to speak, where it's like the member berries. You remember these people, but guess what? You gotta forget them and focus on this new cast, because you have to like the new cast. No. That's not the impression I got. Yes, the new cast is the focus, but it is the focus which has the focus of Egon Spengler, which has broadens to the focus of the original Ghostbusters, and that will become evident if you haven't already seen the film. So that is my impressions. I can't, like I said, go into details. This is a no spoiler video review for the movie. If you do want me to do any spoiler type review or discussion, I'm more than willing to do so. I know other people that I know personally have seen it and have enjoyed it, so maybe like we could do a spoiler discussion live stream. It's all depending on what audiences want, or YouTube audiences want. So, but let me know down in the comments if you would like to see that. Again, objectively speaking, this movie for me is about I would say 7.5 out of 10. It is a very decent film, leagues above the movie that shall not be named that came out in 2016, and the true, arguably sequel to the only two Ghostbusters movies previously. Subjectively, primarily because of the third act, because I did not mention this, it kind of, in my opinion, dips a little bit in the second act, but it picks back up in the third. And subjectively, because of that, because of the last, arguably, really 10 minutes, it bumps it up to like a 9, at least, out of 10 for me. I did tear up. I choked back tears. I was like actually like in the theater like this, wiping it away, because it really did move me. It really did. It really did. But again, those are my thoughts. So what did you think of the movie? If you have seen it, please don't post any spoilers in the comments, because I don't know who all is watching this review and if they have at all seen the film. So what did you think overall of the film? Do you agree with my take? Do you disagree with my take? Let me know all that fun stuff down in the comments below. If you liked this video, leave a thumbs up. Share on social media if you will. Catch me tonight on my Twitch channel, Jade_Fire. I will be playing Splitgate, and if you have Splitgate and you are friends with me on PlayStation or through Splitgate, the more the merrier. I include as many as I can in the time that I play the game. So, that will be about 8 p.m. Eastern, give or take. So, tune in for that. If you like to see a gamer girl play games like that, Resident Evil 7, Call of Duty Vanguard, and some Nintendo stuff like Mario Kart and Smash Brothers, hit me up there. Jade_Fire, like I said, that is my Twitch name, and you can find me at 8 p.m. Eastern there. So again, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. This is Mara Jade. Catch you on the dark side, and who you gonna call?